Thank you, David. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Good. I am so excited. Oh, there, the audio is working now. Okay. I am so excited. This is our first Inner Circle event. So some of you have been in Inner Circle for coming up on 7 months, and some of you have been in Inner Circle for a couple of weeks. But this is going to be such a special event. If you have been to any other Voss Coaching Co event, this one is going to be different. So hold your expectations. It's going to be incredible. Arash is going to go micro on things. We're going to do some things we've never done at events before. We're going to have a lot of fun. What I want to encourage you to do is every time we have a break, I want you to think of it as a networking break. I want you to find someone and talk to them about your business ideas, about your goals. Arash and I were talking last night about how we've been to so many seminars, and we've been sitting in your seat before. And 20 years ago, we didn't take advantage of the events when we were coming to them because we were too shy. We didn't network. We didn't talk to other people. We hugged the wall. We hugged our phone. We tried to stay out of the networking. I don't want to see anyone doing that this week. I want to see everybody talking to somebody. This room is full of the most incredible people. You are in the best company possible. Everyone here is doing really big things, really great things. So we're excited to have you all. We're going to have a fantastic week together, or 2 days together. And I'm really looking forward to it. So help me bring Arash Vosughi up to the stage to get us started.
Welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing? Very good. We've got a really good 2 days. And I'm really excited for what we have for you guys. Mikey was talking about it. And we're really going to go micro here. You know, that's why Inner Circle is, when I came up with the idea, it was really working on one lesson a month. It's the repetition over and over and over and over again. And that's what most people don't do. Then they wonder why are they in the same spot. Because they don't understand repetition. Now I have a lesson at the end of the day that you guys will never be able to unhear. And you will never, ever screw around with repetition again. You will never screw around with it. Because I'm telling you, the lack of repetition is what is costing people their dreams. Now, I want you to think of your dreams. We've got to sprint towards our dreams, not tiptoe. Most people are tiptoeing, and you have to sprint towards the dream. The greatest fallacy is we have all this time in the world. I was talking to Jason before we started, and I told him this. I said, the reason I don't focus on what I don't want, I don't have time. You don't have time. So when you say, I'm not disciplined, no, you're not making decisions. You're not respecting yourself. You're disciplined just in the wrong thing. And indecision is a fallacy. No one is indecisive. When you're hesitating, it's not indecision. You're making a decision, just the wrong decision. That's what happens. So the first thing we have to do is have great courage. So what is courage? I've thought about courage so many different ways. But the greatest definition I have for courage is betting on yourself, especially when there's no guarantees. See, most people are wanting guarantees, so they never bet on themselves. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Inside of you right now, there's somebody who can be much more effective than you are. There's somebody who can be more courageous than you currently are, more disciplined, more consistent, more committed. Now, I want you guys to lean into failure. Failure is part of the combination. And most people are resisting it, and that's why they're not getting what they want, because they're not failing forward. You have to put your guts on the line. That's what it takes. It can't just be, oh, I wrote something down on a card, that means I'm going to have it. That's not it. That is not it. It's how you're showing up in the world. Right now, our state is what the world is responding to. So when you're holding tight, when you're giving in, That's all you're going to keep giving. You're going to get back that exact thing. The most important discipline that you and I can create is disciplining ourselves being on the state of what we want. So I want you to think about what you want. I don't want you to put any more energy on what you don't want. Now, it's not going to make it better if you focus on what you don't want. Would you agree? But when I say dream, I mean something that you really want more than anything else. But dreams to achievement demand goals. They demand commitment to goals. And when you do that, your life is going to change so dramatic. Now, let's start with a question. Over the last 90 days, have you been sprinting towards your dreams? Okay, you know the answer. There's no judgment from me. And if you haven't been, I want you to start doing that starting today. Like, I don't want you leaving this room with doubts. You leave the doubts in here. You leave the fears in here. Now, I say this at every seminar. Some people get it. Some people are like, oh, that's a cute exercise. That's a cute saying. But every one of you right now are sitting in a chair. You declare what the chair is going to be. Is it going to be a $50,000 chair in 6 months? Is it going to be a $1 million chair? Is it going to be a $5 million chair? Mikey and I were doing an interview last night, and she was bringing this up to me. And she goes, where did you come up with that? I said, well, I thought back of when I was in the front room of a seminar. That has been well over $25 million chair for me if I look back. You know, so when I tell you, you guys have something special in you, you do. We are an expression of God. See, everybody thinks God is on a mountain, okay? I was working with a group the other day, and I dissected Psalm 46 for them. And maybe I'll do it for you guys later. But I really dissected it from a scientific perspective. Be still, know I am God. So be still. When your old self comes in, you be still right away. No, what does no mean? No means it is done. I am. So you dissect it into 4 segments. I am, identity-based. Everything that follows an I am is identity-based. And then God, that is an absolute reflection of who we are. But if people would understand that when they start questioning themselves and just say, be still. So you're rejecting it. You're saying, no, that's not me. That's not me. So you've got to understand, I think I'm going to whiteboard it for you because I want to show you at some point. You guys got to remind me to do this. I want to show you at some point what part of your mind is each part of that. You know, then you could use it as such a tool when you question yourself. See, this whole philosophy demands 2 things. It demands discipline and it demands faith. Now, you and I, our greatest responsibility is to be in control of our mind. The only way we could do that is with discipline. The only way. Okay? So I want you to write down before I even get started. What is your intention for the next 2 days? I want you to really write it down. What is my intention for the next 2 days? Whenever I go to an event myself, I'm always looking for one idea. One big idea that I can just leverage. Not, I'm going to give you 1,000 ideas because I'm reprogramming your minds. But I want you to think of when that idea hits, you're going to know by what you're writing down. That's what I want you to do. Okay? Now, these next 2 days are going to change everything. And I know that because every event, I get it. I did Cheryl, you were there. I did a real estate event a few months ago. And the owner of the real estate company called me this last weekend, and he said, I don't know how the hell you did this, but there's a guy who was at that event. You've changed his life. He has made more deals in the last 2.5 months than he's made in the last 5 years combined. And he said he wanted me to tell you you changed his life. I said, I didn't change his life. He changed his life. But I said, here's your opportunity as a business owner. Share that story with all the other agents that were there. Because how many people didn't do it? I don't want that for you guys. One decision can change your life. One idea. So if you let your circumstances control you, you're just going to keep creating that. See, and you got to really get to understand, am I managing my life or am I creating my life? I was in Paris a few weeks ago. My kids and my wife were getting ready, and I went walking around. And then I'm walking down the street, and I'm like, oh my God, most people are managing their life. Everything is, am I being responsible? So they're trying to create from a place of shame. And that is managing your life. Managing your life isn't what we're here for. We're creative beings. We're meant to create our life. So you want to start really creating, what do you really want? Like, how do you want your life to be? Go ahead. Oh, sure. You caught everyone off guard. Yeah.
Disrupt conformity.
That's right.
They're sleeping back.
Yeah.
Okay, Arash. Is this on? Okay. So this concept has really stuck with me, creating versus managing. Of course, I want to be in creation. And I've equated creation to the cause and managing the effect. So most people, as you said, are going to the effect, which is just managing, instead of the cause, which is creation.
That's right. So what most people are doing, they're letting the effect be the cause and the cause be the effect. So they think they're the effect, not the cause. So everything is really about pattern recognition. We got to get really good about pattern recognition because that pattern is connected to a story. So we want, like, you have good patterns and then you have not so good patterns, right? So do I. So if you look at them, when your life is really going to transform is when you identify the patterns that are not serving you and getting it out of your story. So you're going right to the cause. I could tell you when I first was getting mentored by my mentor, Bob Proctor, before we even started, that's what I did. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't call it pattern recognition. But I was like, why do you keep procrastinating? Why do you keep waiting for evidence? Like, these are the things that I was doing. So before we started, our first real coaching conversation, I told him these. And he said, I already know where you're going because of that you're already thinking this way. So we want to get really good at pattern recognition. Because some of your pattern recognition is safety, but you're not recognizing it. So that means you're not betting on yourself. That is the cause of everything. And I'll tell you another one. You have to be the hungriest person you've ever met. No one wins who's not hungry. So you've got to be the hungriest version of Bob. Like, I already know, when I work with a client, I know who's going to win from the beginning. I didn't say they're not going to win, the other people, because I can activate hunger in people. But if you're not hungry, you're not winning. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that right now. And once it's activated, it's never going to dim down. It is never going to dim down. A lot of you are hungry. Some of you are holding back that hunger because you're protecting yourself. It is a gift. You've got to be hungry and you've got to be humble. Those two words you've got to brain tattoo, hunger and humility. Because if you start drinking your Kool-Aid too much, you're going to get humbled. So you want to keep really understanding, why am I not disciplined? Because I haven't decided. That's why someone's not disciplined. Now, I could speak with great authority about this. I could speak with great authority because I had the wrong disciplines before. But once I activated that hunger, you're not going to let the bank account control you. You're not going to let other people's opinions of you control you. But you're going to start respecting yourself at the highest level. I went golfing yesterday with Jeff. And when we were golfing, we stopped at one of the holes, and I told him, I said, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I want you to lock this in. And I want you guys to lock this in. A person with purpose is unstoppable. When you have purpose, nothing is going to get in your way. Now that means you turn, in the beginning, your goal into a purpose. You've got to turn your goal into a purpose. And when you do that, the game is going to change. The game is going to change. Money is not a purpose. Money is an effect. Having a great brand can become your purpose if you have a business. Having a great brand. Transforming people's lives in your brand is a purpose. So you want to operate with everything with purpose. You want to operate here with purpose. Now, the version of you that got you here is not going to take you where you want to go. You have got to leave that old identity in this room. But you're not going to be able to leave it in this room if you don't identify it. So if I keep making decisions that I've always made, well, I'm just keep re-emphasizing my old identity. So you've got to be able to identify it. When people tell me, you know, I don't want to earn more money, I don't care about the money. I don't like the sentence. Because what they're not doing is challenging themselves. They're not challenging themselves because underneath they don't believe they can. Because money is a reflection of the service. So really what you're saying is I don't want to serve. That's what you're saying. And I don't think people understand that. Now, the version of you that got you here cannot take you where you're going. So you've got to understand that. It cannot take you there. Like Donald, if I look at you, you've got to make a decision in this room. You've got to draw a line in the sand and say no more. Now I was telling my team this, and I'll share it with you, because we were talking about standards. I said the reason I have such an obsession with the standard of excellence, because you guys deserve the best version of me. My family deserves the best version of me. That's what standards are about. When you are tiptoeing, they're never going to get the best version of you. So every time you negotiate, you're not bringing the best version. When you think you're better than somebody, you're not bringing the best version. You're bringing the worst version. And all you're doing is going to attract really bad things to you. You know, like I put a brick wall up to people who gossip. There's people who gossip all the time. Well, I know if they're gossiping to me about something, they're gossiping about me to somebody else. Those are people who do not fit in my circle. Very weak minds gossip. You know why? Because they think they're better. They're not better. And they're going to get, their results will show it. Because that's just putting a negative mental attitude out there. Small minds gossip. Some people can't control themselves. Why? Because they don't want to go inward. They don't want to look at themselves, so it's easier to talk, I could talk bad about Bob. You know, so the person, when you guys walked in this room, I want you, from this point on, every time you go through these doors, I want it to be your future self, not your circumstance. I want it to be who you really decide to be, not who you're not going to be. Now, I don't want these 2 days to just improve your life. I want them to change it permanently. I want you to be able to say what I said. Now, 20 years later, when I walked in that room, I walked out a different person. That's what I want for you. Now, I told you I'm going to go very micro here. We've got to change at the identity level. We've got to change at the identity level. And you guys, I know a lot of you very well. Some of you are very new to me, so I'm getting to know you. But you've got to really look at what my next level identity is going to be. These are about behaviors, not money. These are about behaviors, not scaling. Okay? Now, the most dangerous place you can be is exactly where you currently are a year from now. Now think about this. Wouldn't you be pissed if you had the same results a year from now? I know I would be. I know I would be really pissed. I mean, Mary, wouldn't you not? Yeah. I want you guys there's so many transformations that have happened. I think about Garrett. You know, like he's transformed so much. When I first met him, he said he was miserable. You know, he was a lot heavier then too. You know, he's like, right? Yeah. He has transformed so much. Still no alcohol? Absolutely. Yeah, he told me this about a year ago. About a year ago. And like he's transformed so much. Now he's out on his own. He started his own company. You know, like so much good is happening for him. I could talk about Stacy. I could talk about Blake. I could talk about Jonathan, Kim. Like I could talk about so many people. You know, I could talk about Bob. Like I could talk about Stephanie. I could talk about Karen. I mean, I have so many that I could talk about. So if they could do it, you could do it. Now, most people are terrified of change. God, what is my family going to think? What is my family going to think? They should be terrified of staying the same. Like, you guys should not be terrified of change. You should not be terrified of betting on yourself. You should be terrified of staying the same. Now, all it takes is one irrevocable decision mixed with discipline every day. This is the person I'm going to be. Not this is what I'm going to get. This is who I'm going to be. When you be it, you're going to get it. The wealth formula is always be, do, have. You have to be it before you're going to have it. So that's all we have to focus on. You and I can't control results. Like, Ann, I can't control your results. But I know if you do what I'm suggesting, your results are going to change. Because you're going to be somebody different. Now, some of you are still struggling with money. Is that accurate? Because you're not being somebody different. So you might be doing a lot of things, but you're not doing the things that are changing you at the identity level. Because money is just a direct reflection of our identity. Some of you have transformed your financial life. Why? Because you transformed inside. Everything is an inside-outside game. You know, now that's obvious. You all know that. Then why are you holding back? So if you're holding back, guess what you're going to get back? You're going to get delay. You're going to constantly get delay. So we have to start with this truth that you're a spiritual being living in a physical body. You are hardwired for an extraordinary life. You are not your circumstances. You are not your bank account. And you are not your old story. These are things you are not. So you have to start with the truth. The truth is you are an expression of God. If one person can do it, everyone can do it. So you have to start seeing you not as this physical body. You have to see what's underneath it. All we're doing is wearing a costume. That's all we're doing. But it's so hard because at such a young age we've been taught this is who I am. My name is Jonathan. My name is Blake, right? This is how we've been taught. So we've got to see deeper. And if you saw deeper, you wouldn't chase anything. You wouldn't chase anything. But the reason you're chasing because you're trying to create from the physical side. So you're trying to force. And then it doesn't work. You create everything as a spiritual idea. Like everything I'm giving you so far is a spiritual idea. But if you keep trying to change things on the physical, you're not going to win. You are not going to win. You've got to get in harmony with the spiritual side of your personality. Everything starts from a higher potential to a lower potential. That's where it starts. Now, you carry this creative power that built everything you see. If you look at everything in your life, you created it. I was working with somebody a few weeks ago, and they're like, why bother? I'm so frustrated with the results. And I very calmly said, who created the results? I said, what a dumb idea to get mad at a result. A result is just feedback. So if you want better results, be better. You know, like Jim Rohn used to say, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. There's nothing more accurate than that. So who do you think is creating your results right now? I am. I'm creating my results. I can't blame Ann for my results. I can't blame Cheryl. I'm creating them. So it is such a dumb idea every time you give your creative power to the result. Because really what you're doing is saying, keep giving me more of that. Keep giving me more of that. Now, I want you guys to look at what you're wearing. Just take a look at what you're wearing. It was created in your mind before you ever bought it. Everything is already created. So when we're chasing, we don't understand that. Everything is always created twice. First in our mind, then in our physical reality. The outside world is just chasing your inside. That's why there's a delay. That is why there's a delay. The life you already want already exists. Your job is to become the person ready to receive it. Now, Emmett Fox brought this philosophy up many years ago about becoming the mental equivalent of what you want. What Fox taught was genius. It was well before his time. And he taught whatever is in our life is a mental equivalent of what we've accepted about ourselves. So it's not just what you visualize, because you could visualize something and not accept it. You have to really accept it. And you could indent your subconscious mind so fast, so fast. I was working with my well sprint the other day, and I told them this. I want you guys to do this exercise, okay? And I challenge you guys to do it, just so you can see it for yourself. I said, for 3 days, I want you to go to sleep with something silly. Like, doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's somebody calling you. Maybe it's you swimming in a pool. I said, if you do that, within 7 to 10 days, you're going to be in a pool. Or you're going to walk by a pool. You'll see that your subconscious, how powerful it is, and it obeys you. The reason I gave them this exercise, because a lot of people don't understand the subconscious, so they don't believe it. I said, I'm going to do it for you. I'm not for you. I'm going to do it with you. So I picked somebody I hadn't talked to in a while. Yesterday morning, I'm at the gym, he texted me. I just started laughing. I think I got it faster than 7 to 10 days because I already believe it. You know, but I encourage you to do it. Then why I said this, now I want you to do it with what you want the most. So you stop questioning when you're going to sleep, giving that one 30-second image. Now, that might not happen in 7 to 10 days. It might. You know, but I want you to see it so you stop screwing around with your life and stop putting the wrong images in your mind. Now, most people never design their life. They inherit it. You are hardwired for success, but excellence must be constructed. Character must be constructed. So you don't just have character, you build it. And there is nothing that creates more of a strong foundation than our character. So your income, your body, your relationships, none of it's an accident. It's a result of design that you did unconsciously or consciously. That's what it is. That is exactly what it is. Now, you inherited a paradigm that was handed to you as a child. And you've been calling it you ever since. So no one at our age hasn't dealt with trauma. But you don't have to keep the trauma. You could release it. That's not you anymore. But most people don't understand that, so they're carrying around this gorilla on their back of trauma that happened 40, 50, 60 years ago. You have to let it go. You have to let it go. I've heard a lot of things in my life. Coaching. Yesterday was a first. That I had a client tell me she has a demon inside of her. And I said, what did you say? And then she was telling me, and I said, you don't have a demon inside of you. But you've accepted that idea, so every thought is based on your trauma. You know, so I helped her release it yesterday. She's accepted this wrong idea, and I believe she really inherited that many years ago. You know, so what you think you're not is not true. It is not true. Now, you're either going to live two ways. You're going to live by default. You accept whatever the outside is giving you. Or you're going to live by design. You're going to consciously author who you're going to become. You're going to consciously author it. See, most people never create their life. Going back to what I was telling Bob. Some of you I coach deeply, and I still know you're not creating your life. You're letting the outside create it. So remember when we were talking about dreams? You got to sprint towards your dreams. Nobody decides your dream but you. And that's creating. Life by default or life by design. You can't do both. You get to choose. You get to choose. The version of you that walks out is being decided right now. See, you guys are thinking about your future. Your future is right now. Life is happening to us right now. And that's how a lot of people use a crutch. They say, by in a year it'll be different. It's not going to be different unless you become different. It's not going to be different. Stop giving away the now for the future. You have to stop living the future right now. Now, the real question you have to decide is, am I done playing small? Am I done screwing around? Like, this question has to be answered emphatically. I'm done. I am done. I am going after big things. Going after big things. So you got to stop playing small. You know, Stephanie, I think of you last week. You gave me a challenge. I gave you an idea and you executed and you got what you wanted, right? You could do that every day. That exact thing. The reason you did it, because your back was against the wall. You didn't like a circumstance. So all we did is work on the opposite. We didn't work on the circumstance. I said, by Friday, you're going to do X. And then you texted me, you said, I did it. You know, well, why are we not the best version of ourselves every day? Why don't we hold ourselves to that standard of performance? Why are we creating success only when our back is against the wall? Why not create it as just a natural, this is who we are? This is who we are. Like I've said this on many different forums, I want every single one of you to earn more money while you sleep than you can spend while you're awake. Yet some people want money, and maybe it's some of you in this room, but you have so much shame. I love when clients tell me, but, you know, Arash, I feel bad to invest in myself because it's going to take away from my kids. I go, you have this backwards. You're doing this for your kids. You're not taking away from them. You're doing it for them. But you don't understand that because you are trying to create success from scarcity. It's never going to happen. You're never going to have more money if you have guilt around money. So you have to heal your money wounds. Now, there's 3 rules for these next 2 days. I want you to play full out like you've never played full out before. And I instructed my team before we started, if you see somebody who was like me, who was out in the hallways hugging a wall by themselves, you go talk to them. Okay? Because I used to be that person, and God, I think back now, so many opportunities I lost because of my shyness. So many opportunities. But get ready, we're going to come after you. I don't want you to lose that opportunity, okay? I do not want you to lose it because I was you so I could see it. But I want you to really commit. You're going to leave your trauma in this room. You're going to leave your worry and doubt in this room. You're going to leave everything that you think is real in this room. That's what I'm asking you to do. That's what I'm asking you to do. Now, I want you to learn how to create your life by design. So there is another version of you in this room. The one who does 10x better than what you're doing. The one who becomes 10x more confident. The one who has 10x more certainty. And I want you to build the life you actually want. Like, that's why we're here. We're not here just to get by. We're not here to just settle. You guys have all outgrown the old you. You've all outgrown the old you. How many of you would like more cash flow? Not just Not just profit, I mean cash flow. It's a decision. So you make a cash flow goal. Every week, this is my cash flow. Then you install it inside of you. The problem, you don't have cash flow because you don't have a cash flow goal. You know, if you're going to be really wealthy, that is going to create the freedom, because that's what creates the freedom, you've got to create minimum 5 million liquid. 5 million liquid. You know, you earn $1 million. The first million is the hardest million to earn. The second one is still hard, but not as hard. The third one is where it becomes easy, where you're never going to have to think about money again. But you got to think about what I just said. I don't care if you're earning 100,000, you could still be the person who earns 5 million. Because I was negative 282,000 plus a foreclosure sticker on my garage, and in 2 years earned my first million. But I didn't try to earn $1 million. That's why I think I did it so fast. It wasn't a goal of mine. The goal of mine was stop living paycheck to paycheck. That was the goal of mine. You know, so you have to decide that's what you're going to do in terms of cash flow. But I want to introduce you to somebody you've never met. You've never met him at one of my events. You've never met this version of you that's dying to come out. And you are going to become this person. That's who I want you to meet. Now, this next 2 days is not about more information, it's about activation. You guys, I promise you, if you have an open mind and you make real decisions in these next 2 days, you're never going to be the same. You're never going to be the same. Now, I'm going to have you write. I'm going to have you do exercises. I'm going to have you close your eyes. I'm going to have you release the bullshit. I'm going to have you be an active participant over the next 2 days. That's what I'm going to have you do. Now, understand this. There are two versions of you right now. Whichever one you're activating, the default self runs on fear. How many of you are operating with fear? The honest ones. I appreciate that. I don't buy it. Okay, I don't buy it. Okay, because you wouldn't talk to me about some of the stuff you told me if you didn't have fear. Okay? But we're going to get rid of it. Now, the 10x self moves from faith. This does not work without faith. The only way you can develop faith is with discipline. Only way you can develop faith. Now, you have to decide first. Nothing happens until we decide. Nothing happens. Evidence always follows. Cindy, I was thinking about that text you sent me. Cindy had somebody that she was working with said, I see you creating so many things. And everybody sees it. You're the example now. You are the example. It was such a great text you sent me.
What did I say?
You said it's...
You have an amazing mentor.
Yeah, you did say that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't let Cindy stay comfortable. Ever. You know, it's always on what's next, and we're planning a major thing next for her, you know. But it's because of who she's become that I could do this. Why didn't I do that with her 3 years ago? She wasn't ready for it. Now she's ready for it. Now, you don't get 10x by doing more. You get it by becoming more. So you got to decide in this room, where am I going to become more? Who do I have to be to become more? Does that mean you're going to really take care of your health? Because that's going to give you the energy to be more. Does that mean you're going to let go of excuses? You're not going to be more with excuses. So you have to decide that. Now, the version of you that does 10x better, they don't grind 10x harder. That's not the game. That is not the game. That's the difference between people who are earning millions and people who earn a couple 100,000, is the person who earn millions are working on leverage, not grinding. It is much harder when you get this to earn 100 than it is a million. A million is about transformation in what you do for a living. That's what it's about. 100 is about grinding. And some of you are so committed to the grind. I have a great client, Joe Kinkard. I love him. He's still grinding. I keep talking to him about it. Like, you got to stop. You got to stop this. Every time I talk to him, share it with him, because his wife's in this room, so I'm not talking behind his back. I tell him, stop telling me you're so busy. Everyone's busy. And then I say, Joe, nobody cares. I said, you can eliminate this. But the only way you can eliminate that is being a leader. Leadership is what creates leverage. Now, the version of you that does 10x better, they hold a different standard. Every one of us can hold a higher standard if you really prioritize standard. You know, some of you are prioritizing in some areas, but not your behaviors. Your behaviors have to become a standard. Action has to become a standard. And then you carry a different story. It's very simple. Change your story, change your life. It's very simple. Like, how did I change my life? I changed my story. I changed my story, and that's what you have to do. And then you live from a different identity. Identity changes everything. It doesn't work with the same identity. It does not work. Now, same hours, different person. Same hours, different person. Now, 10x is inside of you. It's who you are, not what you do. Yet people keep trying to do more and think they're going to get the results, but they're operating with the same identity. So even though they're busy being busy, they're creating the same results. Don't make the mistake that many do where they think being busy means being productive. It does not. Now, I told you this, and you got to get it. Like, everything you write down, it's created twice. You activate it once you wrote it down. Once you wrote it down, it's already activated in your mind. So now we got to build the right standards, the right disciplines, the right models to see it in your physical life. Now, first in the mind is the blueprint, the vision, that version of your life that you build on the inside before anyone can see it. Nobody is seeing it. But you know what you're doing behind the scenes. Nobody else knows. And you're going to think you're delusional because the results haven't shown yet. But don't give in. Don't give in to time. Time is the greatest illusion we have. We're the only creatures that operate based on time. Everything else in the world is based on vibration. But why do people start and stop? It's been 2 weeks. I've been doing it every day, and it doesn't work. You've been operating from this program for 20 years, and in 2 weeks, you're going to think it's going to change. Think about that. Because you're so connected to time, and it's so easy to gather information. It is so easy. But it is very difficult to change identity, because then I have to go inward, and I have to develop actual faith. Then in the world, the physical result, it can only ever be a copy of the first creation. So don't ask yourself, why am I getting what I'm getting? You created it. That's your dominant ideas. No, but Arash, I'm working really hard. Doesn't mean you're working on the right things. You could be selling based on scarcity. I promise you, you're going to get scarcity back. Reality is always the downstream of the image you hold. Of the image you hold. And your image, if you did it every day, it's going to get more and more detailed, more and more automatic, more and more normal in you. Where instead of saying, I can't feel it, the feeling is naturally going to come through repetition. That's what happens. But that means we've got to build your imagination. Most of you who haven't built their imagination, it's going to take a lot of energy. And then most people give in. Now, who is running your first creation? Is it you or is it your fear? If you're creating based on fear, I promise you, you're going to start bringing in things you don't want. Is it your past? Is it what's realistic for you, or is it what you want the most? What is it? Now, if you guys can turn off the lights, I want to take you through a visualization that is going to open you up, okay? All right. So I want you to close your eyes. I just want you to follow my voice. Take a few deep breaths in to neutralize yourself. Let's turn the lights down. All right, it's many years from now. You're at your own funeral. You're watching it. You're in a room full of people, and every one of them is there for you. 4 people stand up to speak about the life you lived, and you're listening to every word. First, the person who shared your life. I want you to put that person's image, they're speaking of you. When they describe what it felt like to be loved by you for all those years, what do they say? Were you present? Or always somewhere else, chasing the next fear, chasing the next result? Then I want you to see your children stand up. They won't remember what you bought them. They'll remember who you were. What did your life teach them about how to live? About how to love? And what's possible for them? What are they saying? Then think about the people you've led. A person whose whole life changed because they met you. What did it give to them to be in your presence? Would they call you an unconditional giver? Would they call you a taker? Did you leave them far better than you found them? What are they saying? And finally, a stranger, someone you never met, whose life was changed because you built something in yourself to reach them. This is what the money was always for. And then I want you to ask yourself a question. Is my life rippling past just those 4 people? Now, is that the eulogy you are on track to earn? Not the one you hope for, not the one you currently fear, not your current habits and identity. What is it that you want to create? Now, you can turn on the lights. Now, are you living based on what is, or are you creating your life? Now, tell me what came up for you. Okay, tell me, Mary. What?
So you think you are operating at the higher version, but when you project to your a eulogy, you can suddenly see voids. You can suddenly see voids that aren't being filled yet in your evolution.
This is why it is so important to create our life by design. See, a lot of the things that people are giving their attention to don't even matter. It doesn't even matter. When you're obsessed with your bank account, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. When you're obsessed with what it looks like doesn't matter. So we've got to put meaning because we do things because we have enough reasons. But if you look at the end of your life, it's all about impact. It's all about presence. It's all about how you showed up. That's what it's about. And they've done these studies of people who are about to die, and they say they regret that they never lived. And I always quote Wayne Dyer because I love this statement he used to always say. Never leave with your music still inside of you. And most people are because they're not creating by design. So if you look at what you really want, is that really what you really want? Is it really what you really want? Or is it based on ego? You know, because there's going to be things, like all of you are going to be super successful. But I want you to create success with character. I want you, if it takes 5 years, it takes 5 years. If it takes 1 year, it takes 1 year. But you're going to keep winning and hitting goals on to your big goal. So every time you negotiate with yourself, I want you to go back to this eulogy. It's going to demand you to live an excellent life to be the best version of ourselves. That's what it's going to demand. So every time you hesitate, I want you to go back to this. I want you to go back to this because I don't want anyone in this room at the end of their life to say, I wish I would have went after this. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. So let's stop chasing and let's start creating. That is the message. Okay? That is the message. Go after what you value the most. Now, I want you to get out a piece of paper, and there's going to be 2 columns. On the left, the eulogy you're currently on track to earn. Like if you didn't change anything, this is what you're currently on track to earn. And I want you to write it down. And on the right, the one you designed if fear had no vote. If fear had no vote, I just want you to make a list. I don't want you to be polite. I want you to be honest. The size of the gap is the size of the opportunity. All right, now let me ask you this. Do you guys think now you could put more attention on creating the life you want? Do you think you could do a better job? See, that's why too many people are setting too small of goals, because they're thinking too instant, not what they want the most. They're thinking, oh, this is where I am now, this would be a good jump, but how do you really want to live? Because you're going to achieve a lot of things on the way to that big dream. And we have to make it a dream with goals in between. Because if we don't have goals, it's just a wish. So it demands commitment and it demands consistency. The only way you gain consistency is discipline. Now, only one thing stands between you and these two versions, and it's fear. It is fear. You can't operate with faith with a heart full of fear. So you have to get rid of the fear. And the only way you can get rid of the fear is with faith mixed with a positive mental attitude. That's the only way. And you have to train yourself to change your perception about your current circumstances. You have to train yourself to say everything is working in perfect timing. Everything is coming from the highest and best version. Now, none of you lack talent, none of you lack capability. And it's not the economy, it's all identity. But you can't create a new identity if you're settling. You can't create a new identity if you're not committed. You can't create a new identity if you're not hungry. If you never decide who you're going to be and who you're not going to be. Fear locks you in place, then rationalizing, I've got to be responsible. You are being irresponsible to your life playing it safe. Do you guys get this?